Hi, it's Marcy. Happy whatever. It's after Christmas and before New Year's. I thought I would just stop in and do a quick video. I'm putting together some flowers. Always need flowers for my journals and other crafts. These are made from dryer sheets. After I use them, I rinse them out in alcohol. It takes out the leftover fabric softener and it makes them nice and white. So you get pretty white fluffy flowers. And then if you want to color them, I just use alcohol inks. I made what, so if you want ivory, the color, just a real, like ecru off-white, soft color. What I do is I take just in a small container, like a little dish, a little Tupperware, or a little glass dish, or a little jar, or whatever, and just put about, this high in alcohol. I just use the alcohol that you use for cleaning the house, the ethyl alcohol, or the what you use for like disinfecting, like with your first aid kit or whatever you have, and then just a spritz of I'll show you the ink I have, distress ink. I have this Swiss oxide spray. Ground espresso is the color. Just one spray of that in quite a bit of alcohol, and it comes out a nice. Well, here I'll show you the one I need. Hang on. Okay, so this one is darker, kind of a pale mocha color, cafe latte color. That, or taupe, I guess. That was with less alcohol, so it came out darker, but this was with more alcohol, so it was watered down more. This one here is just kind of like it grew. And if you wanted it even lighter, just add more alcohol, and it thins down the color. And then, so I'll show you how I made these, okay? Just a second, let me put my wreath back. Okay, so what I do is out of one dryer sheet, I get 6 circles. And how I do that is they grab onto everything. Okay, so I take my dryer sheet and I fold it into thirds, okay, so that there's 3 layers. And then I cut that in half, so now there's, and then each one of those halves that are in thirds, I cut it into a circle shape, so I get 3 circles out of one half and 3 circles out of the other half. So I have 6 circles. And they don't have to be perfect, So what I do then is I want to, like, keeps catching on my gloves. Stay there, go away. My hands are cold, so. Okay, so we're going to be fighting with these gloves all morning. So I separate them. I need 2 small, 2 medium, and 2 large. So what I do is I kind of sort them according to their, they look pretty good. These look like they're the biggest. So what I'm going to do is, excuse me, fold it in half, 2 together, okay? And then in half again, so it's in quarters. And if it's really ragged, you don't like those edges, you could just trim them up a little bit. But don't cut off too much. Now what I want to do is I want to get in that corner. You see what I'm doing? I'm going to just slit that. I'm going to go about halfway or less. And then these other 2 corners, I'm going to just slit them up too. Excuse me. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to make little cuts okay? And so when you open it up, you got this fringe. And then you just kind of turn it so that they're not the same. And we're going to do that on the others. So these look a little bit bigger than those, so we'll just fold that in half. Half again. Now this I'm going to trim it down because I want it to be smaller than these others. So I'm just going to trim off about this much. What is that? 1/4 of an inch maybe? Just trim off a little bit. Toss that. I usually do this right over the trash can so that I don't have these little things floating around. Now get into those corners and slit those. Because if I don't do that, I'm going to end up with all these other slits, and then the sides won't be slit, if that makes sense. So I slit those first because it's just easier to find them when there's not a lot of other stuff going on here. And I cut these. I love these because they get this so nice and fluffy. They just look pretty. You saw the other ones, the ones that I colored. The reason that they were all they're the same size as these. They ended up being smaller because what I did was after I dip them in the ink, I just dip them in really briefly. I plop them in there. I squish it down with a spoon and I fish them out right away. I squeeze them out really good, and then I squeeze them in a paper towel, and then I go in and with my hair dryer I dry it, and it doesn't really shrink, but they kind of crinkle up when you dry them. So if you don't want them that way, don't dry them that way. You could just dry them, air dry them. But with them just plain white like this, they stay fluffy. Anyway, so let's do this last one. This is the middle, so it has to be smaller. And I'm just going to make that quite a bit smaller. See, the first one, the second layer I made this, so I'm going to make it just even smaller. Just real small. Get rid of my piece there. Okay, the scrap. And slit the corners, or the sides, or whatever you want to call them. And the smaller it gets, the harder it is to make your slits. So you don't need to make a lot of them. Don't make too many because you'll be cutting them off. If you know what I mean. When you make this one, you'll cut the other one off, so the other side off. So I don't know how to explain myself, but anyway. And make sure you just turn it a little bit so that they're not identical. And there you go. And then what I do is I just sew them. You could glue them, but since I'm going to, if you're going to dye them, the glue might get in your way, especially if you hot glue them, okay. And I had glue the centers in. I sew them together. I'll show you. I sew them together, and then I just put a dot of hot glue there. I just put in a couple stitches to catch them so that when I go to dye them, I don't have, because the first ones that I did, I dyed them before putting them together, and let me tell you, trying to find the right pieces to put them together again after they were dried was not easy. Which one is the small one? Which one is the big one? So I figured just sew them together first, put in a couple of stitches, okay? And then dye them and dry them and put in your center. The center, you could put anything you want. You could put a button, anything that you have. You could do a brad. Poke a hole in them and do a brad. Okay, so that's good. It's just enough to hold it together. Doesn't have to be anything. Oh, see, that's catching my glove again. Okay, and then I'm not gonna dye this one. I want these. I do like to have some white flowers in my stash. I'm just doing stash building. That's what I mostly do between the holidays. Also because we have so much to do with my mother-in-law's house. If you follow me, you know that we're selling my mother-in-law's house, and I have so much to do. Got to take everything out, pack it all up. Take some of the stuff's coming home here to our house. Some of it, I don't know, we're gonna give it away or something. Okay, so I have my flowers, and then I'm gonna just pop a little hot glue there and squish this down. That'll be pretty, don't you think? Hang on. My glue gun's plugged in over here because I was working on something else. Okay, I got my hot glue. Got my little sparkly button. And voila. Hold it down a few seconds. And then just scrunch it up a little bit to fluff it up. It's ready for my flower box. So I think I glued it to my, yeah, I did. That's okay. Okay, it's ready for my flower box. So I wanted to show you these other ones. I did something different, but I had this really kind of cute result. These are just book pages that I cut into circles with my circle punch. This punch is 2.5 inches. I cut out circles. I folded them half like I showed you in quarters, and half, and then half again. And I did this, the little slits. And I did that in 2 sizes. This is the larger, the 2.5, and then this one I cut it down a little bit and then did the slits. And here in the middle is a dryer sheet in between the 2 layers. And it's cut like these. And in the middle, I tried different stuff and I just didn't like anything. So what I did was I just took some thread, and I'll show you what I did. I took the thread and I went around 3 fingers 15 times. 2, yeah, right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And that just seemed about right. And then what I did was I just kind of pulled it all apart and put it back together, and pulled it apart and put it back together until I got a nice little messy circle for the center of my flowers. And I don't know, they kind of look to me like a cross between a bachelor button and Love in a Mist, Nigella. You know, just kind of, I like to keep lots of things in my stash, so that would be cute as the center of like a plain colored one. So, and what else have I made recently? Some flowers that I've made recently. Let's get the flower box. These are just some shabby flowers that I had from before. I had them on a lampshade, and they were really cute. It's just all around the bottom of a lampshade. But that lamp broke. So, and I didn't know what else to do with that lampshade because we got different lamps now for our, well, I made these. It's kind of similar to those. But this is cheesecloth. So anyway, we got different lamps in, so I didn't need the lampshade anymore. The lamp, we threw it out because it was broken, and so I pulled the flowers off so I could use them again for something. Made these. I don't know if did I show you these? I think I showed you the pink ones in a previous video. I made these pink ones, and I made these. Oh yeah, I did show you these. These are, I used the, do you remember the beads from the, oh, what do you call them now? The art stones. And then I painted, a gold, I had some gold paint. And I painted them. And, gosh, I think that's all for now. Yeah, so just a quick video to say happy holidays again, and don't eat too much. Gosh, I ate way too much on Christmas Day. We went out to eat. First time in years that we went out to eat for Christmas, because we normally would go to my mother-in-law's house and have Christmas there. And I would cook, but at her house, you know. So it was just too much for her. And she never wanted to go out. We took her out once, but she didn't like that. She just liked to stay home. So I didn't blame her. I kind of like that too. But we went out to eat and ate way too much. We were at the table for 3 hours. I'm not kidding you. And the kid just kept bringing stuff. So we didn't have dinner. My dinner was baking soda and water to digest. Anyway, so I think we're going to take it easy on New Year's. My husband always works on New Year's Eve because he's the night desk guy at the hotel where he works. And the one time in the 20 years I've been here, this will be our 21st New Year's together. This was our 21st Christmas together, actually. And the one time he took off and we went out, the person that substituted him at the hotel that night closed the books for the year twice. And it took him 10 days of working afternoons with his other colleague to get it fixed. So he said, I'll never do that again. But that's okay, you know, we just, I used to go to the hotel with him so that we could, you know, toast each other at midnight, but I don't bother anymore. I just say Happy New Year's and okay. He doesn't drink anyway, so he just, you know, this much champagne to say Happy New Year's. But so Happy New Year's, and don't eat too much. Bye bye.